Bone-in chicken thighs, butcherbox.com/herd. Nick writes around the corner. So I saw this, Houston Texans, who don't do a lot of things right, hired Nick Caserio as their new general manager. He was in the front office for the New England Patriots. And, resumes kind of matter. If you looked at New England's last 5 or 6 drafts, Nick Caserio was, he was the director of player personnel. And you looked at the last 6 drafts of New England, you would not hire him. They don't draft well. There are certain companies in America that are run with what are perceived as geniuses. Tesla is run by Elon Musk. Netflix is run by Reed Hastings. Let me think. Amazon, Jeff Bezos. Google, couple smart guys. And you can have a successful run at those places, but it's amazing how often people who think they're a little smarter than the boss leave and they disappear into the business ether. Everybody keeps getting hired from New England. Let's just talk front office guys, scout guys. Bob Quinn hired Detroit, GM, fired. Thomas Dimitroff, Atlanta, overpaid for marginal players, fired. Scott Pioli, Kansas City, fired. Jason Light, Tampa. He can draft offensive guys, I'll give you that, but it was a disaster until Brady arrived. And John Robinson at Tennessee, I don't know what his draft success report card is. He certainly can't draft defense. John Middlecoff's a former NFL scout. He's on my podcast network. He got a text from a league executive last night which said, the team whose scouting staff is the least involved, New England, in the draft preparation of any NFL team, produces the most directors and executives. Not to mention, New England has very little draft success. Just because you work with a genius and have proximity to a genius, whether it's Elon Musk or Bill Belichick or Reed Hastings or Jeff Bezos or Howard Schultz at Starbucks, doesn't make you a genius. You can be part of a run. You would never, ever hire the director of player personnel if draft success mattered from the New England Patriots. You wouldn't even consider it. They're bad at it. I mean, you watch their offense this year. That's with the best coach and with arguably the best offensive coordinator. They couldn't complete passes with Cam Newton's a former MVP. This continuation of, well, he works with a genius. He must be a genius. No, a lot of people work around Elon and Jeff Bezos, and they work around them. And you can, don't get me wrong, you can take some things working around it, but there's a reason Andy Reid's coaching tree is better than Belichick. Andy Reid's not a genius. He's a great teacher of football. Ask Michael Vick, who knows him well. Belichick's, mom spoke 7 languages is more in the genius profile, and it just proximity to it doesn't equal it. So that is not who I would have hired as my director of player personnel. I wish him well, and maybe it's he'll be like Brian Flores, the needle in the haystack who leaves and hits it. But if you looked at resumes and draft profiles, you wouldn't even give that guy an interview. Joy with the news.
No.
Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
Poor Deshaun Watson.
I know. That's what new name. Poor Deshaun Watson.
It really...
Talented Josh Allen, poor Deshaun Watson.
And he just carries that franchise every single year. So the Dolphins have the 3rd pick in the draft, thanks to Laramie Tunsil in a trade with the Texans. And there has been talk that they could take another top quarterback prospect despite drafting Tua last year. But Dolphins GM Chris Greer would not discuss the team's overall draft strategy.
Right.
He did stand behind Tua moving forward. He said, Tua, I'm very happy with. He's our starting quarterback.
Okay.
Now, offensive coordinator Chan Gailey resigned after 1 season in Miami. There was a report earlier this week that was then retracted that he was fired. That was not true, but he has now resigned, so he's no longer there.
All right.
I don't know. I got to be very honest with you. I don't feel good. I don't feel great. And here's why. I've been watching the Dolphins my entire life.
Yeah.
And we've gone a very long time without a franchise quarterback. I understand he's only played 9 games. I understand he's a rookie.
Yes.
But things move quickly, and Justin Herbert is great. Broke a rookie record for touchdowns this year. I don't want to hear about how many more pieces he has around him. Everyone keeps saying that, look at the pieces Justin Herbert has around him. Are the Chargers in the playoffs. But how many weeks have they been out of the playoff run? They just let their head coach go. Is that the situation in Miami? It's not. So to your point about Baker and your opening rant today, I don't want a situation where everything has to be perfect. Everything is not always going to be. In fact, you can count on one thing. Everything is not going to be perfect for an entire season in the NFL.
Ever.
You can count on that. Ever.
Brady had a near perfect when he had Randy Moss, Welker, good O-line, solid defense, good kicking. Brady had won a year and a half of his career, never won a Super Bowl in these years, when it was literally like, oh, God, he's got everything. The deep threat, the slot guy, the running back. Like, that is so... Even Kansas City right now, Mitchell Schwartz is hurting. Their running backs are beat up. That's the way it works in the league.
You can count on it.
Yes.
And even if there were some examples of it, why are you going to rely on the outlier? Let's focus on what generally happens, and it's that. I don't want a game manager, and I'm not saying that Tua is that, but I am panicking, and I don't think that is unreasonable.
No.
You wanted to see, you saw it immediately with Joe Burrow, you saw it immediately with Justin Herbert.
And we're not talking wins. So if you go back to Josh Allen's rookie year, if you look at the stats, they're not good. We went back and looked this morning at his 13-minute rookie highlight reel. It was cartoonish how much bigger and stronger he was. He was throwing the ball all over the yard. Patrick Mahomes, he wasn't great his first start in the NFL. Lamar Jackson, year one, week 11, he starts. There were arguments he couldn't throw. But you saw by the second series, you're like, oh, Lord, he's the world's...
Yeah, we'll figure out the throwing
He's
thing.
a deer in a helmet. Like, literally, he's faster than everybody. I want to see just this word. Whoa.
Right.
Just want a little whoa. That's all I want. I saw it with Burrow, Herbert, Josh,
He's
Mahomes.
going to be compared to Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert for the rest of his career.
Yes.
So if the Dolphins do decide to stick with him, they better hope they're right, because they're not going to be in a situation where they're picking in the top 3 again with Brian Flores in this defense. It's not going to happen. So I don't feel good about it, but we'll see. Maybe I need to be more patient. Sam Darnold has said he hopes to stay in New York and be a Jet for life. But GM Joe Douglas isn't committing to Darnold just yet and suggested they won't wait to make any decisions until after they hire a new coach.
Look, we've got a lot of decisions to make. You know, I think that Sam's going to be a great quarterback. I think Sam has a very bright future in this league. And so, you know, we're going to get a head coach in here. We're going to get together. We're going to talk about quite a few decisions. And so, no, I'm excited about Sam.
That's the right approach.
Let's say, and I don't think this will happen, but they keep Sam Darnold. They accumulate